Hey everybody, welcome back to the Foam Party Success Series brought to you by Foam Daddy. This is where we interview successful foam party business owners and learn what they did to start and build a successful foam party business. And today we are interviewing the owner of Fomaha, Matt Stone. And man, when I tell you he shared a bunch of helpful information, I'm not lying. He dropped so many golden nuggets in this interview. He's talking about presentation, he's talking about mindset, he's talking about how he got his first few bookings. He shares his blackjack rule, which may not make sense now, but once you watch the interview, you'll understand exactly what that means. So you're going to want to watch this the whole way through. It's a bunch of valuable information brought to you by Matt. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the interview. Thanks for jumping on this call. And super quickly, just to get started, for people who don't know who you are, can you maybe give a quick overview of like how long you've been in business? What is it that you do in your business? Kind of those details.
Sure, absolutely. So, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Matt Sonne. We own three different companies in the entertainment world. Our biggest and boldest brand is going to be Fomaha Parties, where we host all of our full signature foam experiences, our interactive bubble experiences, and then our artificial snow. We also own Putt and Party, which is going to be our fully mobile miniature golf putt experience. And then we just launched this week, and we already have two full bookings for it. Our third brand, which is Main Street Carnival, we are launching a fully mobile Carnival Midway division. So between all of those, I mean, we offer foam, we offer bubbles, we offer artificial snow, miniature golf, carnival games, and who knows what's going to be in the works because we're always trying to add something new every year to keep expanding our offerings.
Oh, I love it. Taking over the world. And so,
We're we're
recap what I
trying.
heard. Mini golf, carnival games, foam, bubbles, and snow. So which one's the one that started it all, or how did you get started within
Yeah,
the industry?
great question. 2023, I was scrolling through Facebook. I went to Illinois State University, where I met Tim Carsonson, who's one of the other foam operators in Illinois. And we were actually in the same fraternity. He was a fraternity brother of mine. And I just happened to be scrolling on Facebook at the time, and I saw him posting about doing foam parties. And I was very blessed at the time that I saw this. We had another business that I was operating. We owned a fleet of concrete trucks. You know, we were grossing over $1 million. Life was great. However, it was extremely stressful. And I was looking for something fun to do on the side for just some fun money that had really no stress in my eyes attached to it compared to concrete. Because if you've never done concrete before, it is extremely stressful. And I was looking for something a little bit more fun, a little bit more engaging. I'm a very social person. I'm a very outgoing person. And in the construction concrete world, you're confined to yourself for the most part for 12 to 16 hours a day. There's really not a lot of adult communication. And even when you do, it's not good. No one's happy in the construction world. So thankfully, we were able to have some finances and have some spare time to kind of just start a side quest. And I talked to Tim and I said, "Hey Tim, is this real? Like, are you really doing what I see that you're doing? Like, I don't want to see the social media side of it. I want to know the personal side of it. Like, are you really doing what it looks like you're doing?" And he's like, "Dude, it's been insane." His first year, he told me he was almost close to like six figures. And it really just kind of perked my curiosity. And then I started researching it, looking into it, and seeing that I didn't see anybody that did foam in Nebraska. And I literally thought about it for a night. And I woke up the next day and I told my wife, and I said, "Hey, babe, I'm swiping my credit card for $10,000 and I'm buying some equipment for a foam party." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't think anyone does it out here from what I can tell. And I really believe this is going to be something huge or has the potential to be huge." Um, and I honestly, I just pulled the trigger on a whim. I just swiped the card, hit order, and I had absolutely no idea what to expect. I probably didn't go about it the best way to start because I was trying to do something fun. I was just trying to get out there, make a few extra bucks for some truck money, so my wife wouldn't yell at me for spending money on car parts. And fast forward to 2.5 years later, 3 seasons later, here we are. A lot has changed, a lot has grown. I've learned a lot. I'm trying to teach a lot too for a lot of people because I've made a lot of dumb mistakes over the beginning, just like everybody. But I saw it as a something fun, and it wasn't out here. And the biggest draw to me is I've only been in Nebraska now for for about 4.5 years, almost 4.5 years. And moving from Vegas on the West Coast, I learned there's a really big difference between the two lifestyles of just living on the West Coast in Vegas and living in the Midwest. And in Vegas, I worked in entertainment for a decade. So I kind of have that history, but it's not the same type of entertainment out here. I really notice that it's really honed in on family experiences. Family time is super important out here. It's funny. You look at housing out here. Go look at a house. The bedrooms are super small. Unlike in Vegas, the bedrooms are massive because those are your independent areas. Out here, the homes they focus on family areas. The basements are massive. The living rooms are massive, so you can have your whole family together. And it's just kind of a community feel. Like everyone is very neighborly out here. It's very different. And I was trying to figure out how to find something that would work with that because I think that was the ticket to financial freedom and to less stress. And so far, I've unlocked both of those.
Oh man, I love it. Such a great backstory. So to
Yeah.
kind of recap, you were working in a tough industry. You saw Tim, who's another person who's killing it in the phone party industry, kind of introduced you to the phone concept. You
Yep.
swiped your credit card, like you said, let your wife know, and now 2.5 years later, you're making a killing at it. So take us back
Yes.
2.5 years ago. Do you remember how did you go about getting your first booking or maybe your first
Yeah.
couple of bookings in your phone party industry? Tell us about that.
Sure. Yeah. No, I remember it pretty vividly. So we started small just like everybody else. I bootstrapped the startup. It was all just, put it on a credit card, found a way to finance it and get it going. And we got our first foam cannon in. I was super excited. I didn't really know how to market it because I didn't know the industry. I didn't know. I just like everyone that starts, they don't really know what to do. And I started joining the group and reading up on all the posts. And I think I've talked with Lawrence when I first started on recommendations. I talked with Chris for sure. And Facebook discovery marketing was what really kind of helped me get some traction out here because when I started in 2023, the word foam parties or the two words foam parties, that was not even a known concept. Like no one knew it existed out here. So essentially, I had to teach Nebraska what a foam party is. So I didn't go to Google. I didn't go to Yelp. I did not get a marketing team or a marketer or anything like that. Once again, I'm bootstrapping this. I'm getting it going myself. I just dumped all my available money, which at the time was about $300 a month that I could afford for ads. And I literally just blitzed my logo and my brand and the imagery of foam parties on Facebook. My goal was not to get people to click and buy. My goal was to simply just show my face, my logo, and my concept in front of as many eyes as possible to get them to want to be curious about what is a foam party. And then they would go to my website, and that's when the phone calls would start ringing. But until I taught the area and the surrounding area and the surrounding states really what a foam party was, we didn't do a whole lot. But once we taught and it became a thing, we switched gears, towards like Google and other avenues for marketing. But my first event, it took 2.5 weeks, if I remember correctly, after I launched. So we had launched the middle of July. I'm trying to remember the date. We were late to start, just like most people, because they see the idea after it's halfway through the season. And my advice on that for anyone that's watching this right now is just start. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's mid-season, end of season, preseason. Just start because you're going to have to work things out no matter what. And way to get it, the better way to get a test run by running something on the tail end and then just like having some downtime to start figuring out. So we launched pretty late in the season, and it took about 2.5 weeks to get my first event. And I remember talking with Lawrence. We started offering parties at 395, and he was in Kansas City at the time, and it was a very similar market to ours. And he's like, I think you're going to struggle a little bit starting at 395 because he was at 350 and he saw some resistance, he saw some pushback. And I'm all for what's the word I'm trying to say? I'm all for recommendations and advice and guidance, but I kind of had a little bit different feel on it. I just, I saw things a little bit differently. I knew my market a little bit that I think I was able to pull a little bit more than 350 for this type of event. And we started at 395, and it was took about, like I said, about 2.5 weeks, and then we only ordered one cannon to start. So we had one cannon, inline setup, tent, barricades, a cheap Costco $150 speaker, some those, oh man, those silly perfect garden hoses that, oh, I just couldn't stand those things because there was no flex in them at all. They were rigid as can be. And then literally within about 3 weeks of us being open, I got a request for a 300 person foam party. And I'm just like, well, I can't do this with one foam cannon. And I just looked at my wife. I told her what was going on. She goes, just order another one. And I'm like, all right, swipe my card. Literally within 3 weeks, I had my second cannon out here. And then we ended up finishing out the first season with about 38 events, which I was pretty happy with because those were 38 clients that never knew foam existed. So I was able to start teaching people that this was something that was available out here.
Oh man, I absolutely love that. And you dropped so
Yeah.
many golden nuggets there that I kind of want to just summarize to make sure everyone kind of heard
Yeah.
these. First thing that I heard that you explained super well is teaching the people the concept of a foam party if you live in an area where foam parties may not be the most popular thing. And I think this is super important because all of us live in different places around the world. Some
Yep.
places foam parties are more popular than others. And so, depending on where you live, you may have to go through that phase of teaching people what a foam party is. But once you get past the phase, you can take things to the next level, which you obviously have itself. Two, you started off with $300 on Facebook ads, it sounds like. And so I love that because a lot of people think like, oh, I have to have a thousands of dollar marketing budget in order to get started. You don't. You could bootstrap things like you did, start with something
Yep.
small, $300. Most people are charging more than $300 for 1 hour phone party itself. So for the cost of approximately one phone party, hoping you get that back at least, you don't have to start with the super large budget with it itself. And then you
Correct.
did 38 parties, which recouped your investment, I'm assuming,
Oh yeah.
or pretty, yeah, pretty close to it, yep, and
Yep.
stuff. And so it took that. And so dominated with foam, 38 foam parties. Can I ask you, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, can I ask how
Oh
many
no.
foam parties are you doing now?
So currently, I don't have the exact number of just foam parties because we operate a lot differently than a lot of people.
Hmm.
A lot of our events now are custom events where we're bringing multiple concepts. So foam is a huge backbone of what we do, and it's literally the bread and butter of our entire organization. However, an event for us might not just be foam. It might be, foam, bubbles, golf, all of it, or it might just be bubbles because bubbles this year, 2025 has been the year for bubbles for us. It's taken over the market. We can talk about that later. But all in all, right now, on the foam and bubble side of things, not even including the golf or the carnival, we are have it up here. We are sitting at 213 events currently that are booked and reserved. And we have more that are pending, more that are, potentially planning. Like this is on my actual pipeline in my CRM, which means we've made it past the initial conversation, period. And we started working and building some actual events and some structures for some of these. And we have currently events. Let me see here real quick. We currently have events booked and scheduled all the way out through September of 2026 right now.
I love it. You're
Yeah,
absolutely killing it. And another thing that I want to point out that you mentioned too, that I think is super important for people to have heard previously is the concept of just starting now. I see a lot of phone party people or people wanting to get into the phone party industry who are kind of trying to time the market because obviously summer is probably going to be the busiest for everyone, no matter where
sure.
it is that you live itself. And so people try to time that. But I love that you pointed out just start now because you have things that you need to figure out first, and you need that
Yeah.
time to figure it out
And
itself. And
I was going to say, there's so many little aspects that a lot of people unless you come from the business world and you've either run a business before, you've been in a high up position, or you're just an entrepreneur, like there's a lot of little things that people just don't realize, like logistics and scheduling and having to learn how to just make the solution and where to store it, how to get your flow down. And you never really want to figure this out under a true fire, so to say. Like in a perfect world, you want to ramp up and learn here and go. And sometimes you take off super fast and you just got to roll with it and fight the fires as you're putting them out. But for those that are looking, even September, even right now, September 25th, if anyone's on the fence of possibly starting a foam party, I don't care what part of the country you live in, just order it, get the equipment in, start advertising. And maybe even if your season is ending right now, like we're coming down to our slow part of our season, um, we're already booking for next year. Like, get the word out, get people curious. And yes, I live in the Midwest. Yes, it snows here. Yes, it could be 15 below zero without a wind chill here, but it could also be 65 degrees in December. We don't know. And some parents might want to do a foam party in December. Some parents might want to do a foam party in November. And if it's 60 degrees out, even if it's 40 degrees outside, I'll go do it. My staff will go do it. We've done foam down to upper 30s. So yeah, I don't know. I don't let other people's opinions or business thoughts mold my own. I listen to them all. I take bits and pieces from them and I incorporate it into my own thoughts. But if you ever want to push me to do something, tell me not to do it. I'm not going to listen. My goal is to literally prove you wrong. And that's just how I operate. So I kind of took it as a challenge when Lawrence said you're going to struggle at 395. I took it as a challenge. People saying you're not going to be able to sell snow here in Nebraska because it snows. I took it as a challenge that you're not going to be able to do foam full time because it's only 5 to 6 months out of the year that we're going to be able to operate. And so far, I've proven everybody wrong.
Oh, I absolutely love
Yeah.
it. The mentality that you have, everyone should have the same
Yeah.
mentality. Oh man. So let's dive deep. Maybe,
Yeah.
so think back to when you started your first phone party business. You talked about all of us make mistakes. You made mistakes. I made mistakes. Everyone's starting to make mistakes. Can you maybe pinpoint one, two, or three mistakes that you made that if someone new right now watching this, starting their phone party business, that you could help them avoid making?
So it's funny. The first one, it just jumped out in my head. It is something so small. But I remember it vividly. Uh, don't wear sandals.
It's
Don't wear
interesting.
sandals. I thought I was, because like what we do is a pretty fun vibe. We're not suit and ties, we're not dress shirts, I don't even wear polos half the time. I just wear a t-shirt, shorts and whatever kind of shoes I'm comfortable in. But I remember rolling up to my very, very first client. I was so excited. This was a $1 million house because it was in a good area. And these people were super fancy and it was a beautiful backyard except for the hill to get down to the backyard. And I did foam in my backyard a couple times, but I never had to lug equipment up a hill, down a hill in sandals or in shoes when I was until I got to a client's house because I didn't know what it was going to be like once I got there. And I fell on my face 3 times at the same client's house. Like literally, no joke, face to the ground, straight down, just because I learned very quickly that foam and sandals don't mix. And I know it's something so small and it's something so silly, but that was a huge learning lesson for me because not only did I feel completely embarrassed just falling flat on my face, it just showed that I didn't really, in my eyes, and maybe they didn't see it that way, but I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what I needed to do my job correctly without potentially hurting myself or breaking something on property or whatever the case may be. And I know people joke around and whatnot, but to me, safety is a really big deal, not only for my clients but also for my staff and my team members and myself. So that was one of them. Number two was stick to your guns. I got a lot of rejection in the very beginning, and Lawrence was partially right. A lot of people were sticker shocked when I, launched the company. They're like $400 for an hour for soap. And I'm like, well, yeah, uh, you know, I didn't really know. I didn't know how to sell it. I didn't know how to talk about it. And this all comes with just repetition and just getting it out, whether you're telling your spouse, your significant other, a good friend, whether you're telling your kids, your parents, you got to talk to somebody. You got to practice your elevator pitch. You got to feel comfortable knowing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, the person on the other end of the phone or the email, or if you meet them in real life, you are the professional. Like you have a business, and they don't know when you started. They don't know how much you do. Like, you have a business. They are expecting someone confident, someone to be able to speak about what it is that they do. And these are the times that you have to fake it till you make it. And that's something that I have truly lived by my entire life. Is I am very good at convincing people I am extremely confident in what it is that I'm doing and how I'm doing it and all my plans and whatever. But inside here, it is a dumpster fire. I've not a clue what's going on, and no one will know that. It's just something I've learned and a skill set of mine that I've been able to project and present myself as extremely confident and knowledgeable on almost anything. Pick a topic, give me a couple minutes to look into it. I can learn how to tell you to talk about it like I know what I'm doing. So sticking to your guns and finding a confident uh, elevator pitch, I guess you can say, about what you do. Because people ask me all the time, Matt, what do you do? I say, I host phone parties. We throw events. What's a phone party? Oh, well, we just blast foam. Okay. So you have to learn how to talk to people. You can't be afraid to engage in difficult conversations where you might not be as well versed because you don't have the reps in, to have it rattle off the top of your head like we're doing right now. But you just got to do it. You got to get out there. You got to suck it up. You got to stick to your guns, stick to your pricing, and not let people beat you up, and just stand firm. Like, hey, I know what I'm offering. This is my experience. This is everything that you're going to get, and structure it as an experience. I made that mistake my first season. I called it a phone party, and I it is a phone party, but for the price that I'm offering, and I think this is a golden nugget here, because it sets up the psychological back end for the client. It sets up their mindset and how they look at you. A phone party versus a signature experience, to me, it can be the same exact thing, literally the same event. There's no difference. It's just how it's perceived. And something perceived as a signature experience, just by calling it something like that, automatically raises the bar and raises the value of what it is that you're offering, because, like, this is your statement piece. For us, Fomaha parties, our statement offering and our statement concept is our signature foam experience, plain and simple. That's what we're known for. That's what people hire us for. And getting to that point to learn that, it took me about a full season and a half to learn. It's like, we're not doing foam parties. I don't ever call it a foam party. I don't sell it as a foam party. The verbiage on my website doesn't list it as a foam party, because at the end of the day, are we hosting parties? Yes, but that's not our business. We don't host events. We create experiences. And to us, that is our driving factor on our success, is because you're not just getting a birthday party. You're not just getting a festival. You're not just getting a bubble station at whatever, a mall. You are getting full-blown experiences for every participant at any one of our events. And when you can structure it like that, and you can be confident in what you're offering, and be able to talk someone through, hey, I got a $5,000 budget for this client. They want their whole parking lot filled with different concepts. I can speak, professionally. I can speak confidently about what I offer or what I can do for them. And sure, maybe in the back end, I might not know a couple little details about how we may do something, because I might either have to measure or figure out logistics, but they'll never know that. As far as they're concerned, everything is smooth sailing. We're just rolling through with what we got to do. And then it's my job on the back end to figure everything out. So don't wear sandals, very important. And stick to your guns, stick to your guns. Don't change prices. In your don't waver in your operation. And what I mean by that is, every business needs to have guiding principles. Every business needs to have a foundation of how they're going to operate, what they're going to allow, what they're going to say, how they're going to charge people, if they're going to do discounts, all of these things. You need to have a set rule. Just like I lived 17 years in Vegas, so I use this reference a lot. I play blackjack, or I used to play blackjack. I had a very hard rule for blackjack. I never hit on 16. Didn't matter. Did not matter what the dealer was showing. Did not matter how I had 16, whether it was an ace or whatever. I never hit on 16. Never. That was my personal rule. I never broke it. I have to have similar rules in my business. I have similar rules in my fitness world. I have similar rules in my personal life, and I have similar rules in my business where I structure myself to know what are my boundaries? What am I willing to waver on? What am I not willing to waver on? And pricing, I don't waver on. Negotiating, I don't waver on. Discounting, I don't waver on. And when it comes to community give back, donations, and all these requests, I am very specific on who we work with because every week we're getting hit up by like 5 or 6 different nonprofits that want money from us. So we just have to be strategic, but I have to stick to my guns on every single one of those areas. Because when you stick to your guns, people will know that you're serious, that you're a legitimate company. This isn't Priceline where you name your own price for a foam party. This is Fomaha Parties. If you want us, there's a reason you want us. This is the price that you're going to pay to get us to come out, plain and simple. And if you don't want to pay that, by all means, go with somebody else. We know that we're the most expensive out here. We're probably one of the most expensive in the country, and I'm okay with that because I know what we're delivering. So sticking to your guns on pricing and your rules for yourself and your business, no sandals, and then just acting confident, being confident in yourself. I tell every new entrepreneur, every person that ever that wants to go into business, you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you are never going to succeed. I don't care what you're doing, foam, construction, teaching, investing, crypto. I don't care. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't feel that you have the capability to do it, you're never going to succeed.
Oh, this is gold. This is
Yeah.
absolutely gold. Man, all right. So this is what I learned right now. Don't wear
Yeah.
sandals. Talked about sticking to your guns, which is something huge that I wish I had heard when I first started my
Yeah.
phone party business a year ago. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. Stick to your gun, especially when it comes to pricing. Two, fake it till you make it. Exude the confidence that you need in order for people to, believe in the business that you're offering and that you're providing a great service. Something that I think you mentioned but didn't point out was how you package your service and how you make it perceived to your clients is absolutely
Sure.
huge. And you talked about it may technically be the same phone party service that someone else is offering that they're calling it a phone party, but by
Yeah.
packaging it and making it being perceived different, you can now charge those higher rates and get those better clients to it. So packaging and perception, huge. So many good golden nuggets there. I
I'm going to add
absolutely
more.
love it.
I want to
Yeah.
add one more because you just kind of touched on it a little bit, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is something that I think truly separates me from a very good majority of everybody else. Presentation. There's certain ways you can go. I'm trying to think about how I can word this without giving out too much. Um, if you are asking top dollar, if you are someone that is working with large clients, you need to stop and think for a second. Okay, so what is this client used to seeing? And I learned this working as an executive on the Vegas Strip because I was having meetings with CEOs of casinos, director of food and beverages, like top key players in casinos to try and get them to be parts of these programs that we were working. So I had to think on their level. I had to think like how am I was like 28, 29 at the time. I'm like, how am I going to get in touch and build a relationship with this 40, 50-year-old CEO executive of this potentially 100 multi-million dollar a year casino operation? Like, how am I going to get them to talk to me and believe that I have something that they're going to be interested in? So I learned to prepare things on the level that the client expects. So what I do with our events here is I pride myself on being a concierge style event company. So someone calls me, says, "Hey Matt, we got a large festival. We're going to have 40,000 people coming here for this date. We want to bring in some family entertainment. What can you do? How can you do it?" They don't want to hear, "Oh, we're going to do a phone party. We're going to do bubbles, blah 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 blah." They want to see how you're going to lay out. They're going to want to see formal pricing. They're going to want to see, agreements, liabilities. And I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, that they don't believe agreements and stuff like that. But I come from a very different world. And I strongly believe in having every client, I don't care if it's a backyard birthday or a $15,000 event, every single client signs an agreement with me that clearly lays everything out. And I have never lost a bid because of the agreement or because someone didn't want to sign something. So I don't think that's a hurdle for me, but you got to present like you are equivalent on their level because that's what they're used to. And you need to answer every question that may come up in your presentation, in your proposal, in whatever it is that you're showing to the client before the client ever has an opportunity to think of the question for themselves.
Mm.
And that is how I have streamlined my sales process because we now, Fernando, if you're a client or a potential client, you reach out to me, you are getting a packet. It's about 4 to 5 pages from me. And it literally, I'm not going to go into too much detail because once again, I think this is part of my bread and butter on how we truly do it. But you have to present yourself at the level that you're presenting yourself. If I'm sending you a $10,000 bid for an event, it can't be in just an email. It can't. I'm sorry. That's my personal feel. If someone is going to be spending that kind of money with me, they need to get a full-on proposal. And we have built out full proposals where we do site walks, site maps, layouts, pricing structures, different options. And maybe I don't need to do this. Maybe it could be very simple, but this is what my clients like. This is what my clients have learned to trust from us. That I've literally had clients tell me, because we dive deep into what are you looking to accomplish? What are you looking to do? What's your overall feel and vibe? Your overall feel and vibe for the event. And we go over all these things to try and plan it out the best way possible. So I have to break every piece down and go into detail for them. And I try to think like them and think, okay, so this is what they want to do based on my experience with other massive, large events. I know what questions they're going to ask. I know what documents they're going to want. I know how they're going to want to see it presented. And that's what I do. And does it take me a little bit longer? Is it just as simple like, oh yeah, it's going to be $5,000? It doesn't. But on the same token, we are currently at an 82% close rate. So if I send you pricing, if we have made it that far, if the funnel has gone from interest to starting communication to building an event, once I send you pricing, 8 out of 10 people are booking, no matter what the price is. It doesn't matter. 8 out of 10 people are booking once we get to that point. And honestly, that shows me a couple things. One, my presentation and the whole process up to that point is a true sales funnel, true process that gets them ready to say yes. It preps them to say yes. And two, I can raise my price. 82% for a close rate is honestly, it's too high. I want to hear no more often. I want to work less and make more, but I still need to fine tune our offering to reach the value of the next level, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally makes sense. I love this. This is such a great topic to talk about
Yeah,
presentation. You mentioned getting on the same page as your clients, thinking about how they think and the way that you're presenting. Like you said, a $10,000 quote shouldn't just be an email. And I'm glad you said that because I am guilty of potentially sending some of those quotes via email. And now I'm
sure,
thinking like, Matt is correct. Send something more in order so it feels like the level of the quote that you're sending it as. Absolutely
correct.
love this. Thanks so much for sharing this, Matt.
Yeah,
I want to jump into this because I know people are curious because a lot of people start a phone party business and it's almost kind of like their bridge or their gateway to starting an entertainment company with a bunch of other services. And you have
yep,
experience in this. So could you talk about maybe the next service you added on and how you expanded beyond phone parties?
yeah. So we our very first season we only did foam. And I knew once I got into it and I started hosting events and I started talking with people, I'm like, okay, we're not going to do just foam. Like this market to me is primed. We have bounce houses, we have Kona ice trucks, and we have like trampoline parks. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of entertainment for families out here, and that's the case in most places. This is not a unique situation for me. This is most non super large cities. So I live in Omaha. We have about 1 million people that live in the Omaha surrounding area. It's a very family based, city and family based area, but there's not a lot of different types of entertainment. Once again, you have bounce houses, trampoline parks, indoor play places, and that's really about it. So foam parties was something new. And I'm not the type of person that is okay with the status quo or just being normal. I've never been just normal. I'm bold, I'm vibrant. Like I know I can be a lot for a lot of people. And I pass that through to a lot of my businesses because I've learned people want over the top stuff. They want over the top experiences. So, and I knew foam was going to be part of it, but I had to figure out something else because foam was only going to be a seasonal product. I needed to bridge the gap that I could find something else that would give me a little bit more leeway in the fall and a little bit more head start in the spring. And I'm probably just going to lump this up to Chris. I saw him doing bubbles, and I'm just like, well, that's it. If he can do it, I can do it. And I'm like, it seems easy. It's not that hard. And then I talked with Nathan for a while. Him and I talk all the time. We bounce ideas off each other and whatnot. And he was doing bubbles, and I kind of poked his brain a little bit about it. And I pulled up some costs. I'm like, this is dirt cheap to start bubbles. It was dirt cheap. I think I spent $2,000 on the equipment. Battery pack, wands, buckets, tubs, stuff and I literally made my money back within like 3 events, for bubbles. So I always wanted to add something in. So when I started it, I knew something was gonna grow. I wanted to not do just foam, um, because ultimately, and this is still my thought process and my mindset is we are building $1 million entertainment company. There, we have to. I have no other options. That is my only plan. That is the path that I'm on, and I will find a way to get that path to that destination, even if I have to do some zigzags and go off the road a little bit. But that's what we're doing, and I'm going to find a way to do that. And I knew foam was not going to be the full answer to reach $1 million company. And we added in bubbles next. We did that for we added it in on our second season. So we added bubbles in, and that same season, I had also ordered a miniature golf course from Dan over at Milco. And Dan surprised me because we had ordered it in November, the tail end of my first season, because I knew, once again, same mindset, I wanted to add in more. And golf was supposed to be a longer term plan to wait because it was a very large investment. I spent almost about $30,000 getting the golf site up between the courses, the trailer, the equipment, the obstacles, putters, balls, music, all that good stuff. And I thought I was going to have more time to to get it ready and to prep financially for it. Dan called me in like, I don't know, like February, and he's like, "Oh, your course is done." I'm like, what? I thought this wasn't going to be done till the end of summer. I thought it was going to be like an 8 month wait because you were back. I thought I was going to have time to get foam rolling and bubbles rolling before I had to donk off $30,000 to finish paying off the course and buy a trailer. And he's like, no, it's here. So are you ready? I said, yeah, sure. And I pulled out the trusty credit card. just I just swiped it to get the funds there because I wanted it here as fast as possible. I didn't want to mail a check. I didn't want to do anything else. So I just swiped the card, and that was the start of that too. So it was just, I don't know. I knew going into it after my first season, I want more than foam. I want more than just a foam party company or a foam experience company, whatever you want to call it. I'm truly trying to build an empire out here to not only deliver something new to the community that they truly appreciate, something that these kids are going to remember forever. This is going to sound super cheesy, but I swear this is coming from here. Creating these core moments for these kids and these families is a huge to do for me. I really love going out and seeing these events with all of our different concepts and seeing, these moms or dads coming up to me thanking me for such an amazing experience and their kid had the best time of their life and whatever the case may be. Um, and foam does a good portion of that, and I get a lot of that from foam, but I wanted to reach more people and I wanted to offer more concepts and more services. And as we were growing, I was learning my clients wanted more too. They didn't just want just foam. Foam was only like typically one portion of an event. And as we have shifted to get away from the majority of the residential events, because if I had to peg it, we're probably 70-30, 30% residential, 70% commercial, for our events. Um, as we were shifting away from the residential side, I mean, not shifting away, but focusing on the bigger picture. Um, I noticed my clients wanted more. They didn't just want foam. They all asked me, "Well, what else can you bring? What else can you do? What else do you have? What else do you offer?" And that just keeps the wheels spinning, man. This thing just doesn't turn off. I have no off switch. It is just on nonstop, go 24/7. It's a blessing and a curse. I have a million ideas that I want to roll with. And, so we rolled with golf, snow, and bubbles last year was a start for those three. And this year was the second season for all of the add-ons. And I mean, I barely advertise golf. Barely. We're pretty booked out. I've paid the course off now, I don't know, 5 or 6 times over since we started. And it's just I may end up buying another course here because we do get requested for it a lot. I was capped on logistics and operational capacity, meaning we didn't have space for a second trailer, we didn't have space for another 9-hole course, and I didn't have the logistical team to manage a full separate course at the time. Now we're ramping up here. We're going to have that capabilities here by next year, and we may be adding in more, but I made the decision to launch a carnival company this Monday. Uh, so, um, once again, we at this point in our stage, we're coming on the end of season 3 here, and at this point, our client list is currently about 600 clients that we've worked with over the course since we started. Of course, over the span of all of our brands, we have about 600 clients. Almost all of them throw carnivals. Almost all of them throw carnivals. And it is a huge pain point. It is a event that no one wants to put on and they don't know how to put it on. And they are all begging me to throw money at me to do it for them. And Chris and I have been talking for a little bit about it. Been going back and forth for months with him about the idea and the concept. And, he had his vision, I had my vision. Once again, nothing wrong with that. It's just he's got his style, I got my style. I created it after my style using some thoughts and concepts from him, and I've shared with him and vice versa. This is why I love this community because truly, I don't know any other space where entrepreneurs in the same industry help each other like we do. So that's phenomenal. But I truly believe in this Carnival brand, and we already have 2 full bookings. We just launched Monday. Those 2 full bookings paid off 25% of my initial investment in the company for that side. And in my heart and my mind, in my eyes, the Fomaha side of the company should easily be able to do 350 to $400,000 a year. The golf side of the company should easily be able to do about $100,000 a year. And then the carnival side of the company, in my opinion, should easily be able to do about anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 a year. So in my heart, in my mind, and everything I believe, I think I'm sitting on about a $750,000 a year business between all the concepts. Once I get everything fully running and staffed, and I get these key positions in place to be able to do things like this. And it's just crazy to me because I started this on a whim. Like literally, I started all this on a whim. And I know I'm kind of derailing here a little bit, but this is what you get with me. I derail a lot. um, it blows my mind, and I'm humbled. I am extremely grateful. I'm extremely blessed for everything that has come in front of me. We started with an idea for literally truck money for fun parts on my truck with 1 foam cannon. We now have 8 foam cannons, 7 bubble machines, 3 snow machines, 9 holes of miniature golf with 9 premium obstacles. We have 6 carnival tents, 12 carnival games. and I have 5 people who work for me. I'm about to hire, hopefully in the next month or so, I'm about to hire my first salaried position to work for us as an operations event manager to actually run the event side. And it's crazy to know that I started something with just a simple idea of just finding something stress-free and something fun to now being the trusted source in my regional area because we don't just service Nebraska. We're in 3 states. We do Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri. Um, created something that the community has really gotten behind. I am able to provide knowledge and income to people who work for me, and I pay insane compared to normal market rates. You start off at $30 an hour when you work at Fomaha. It's crazy. It's people think I'm nuts paying people this much, but like there's a certain person we're looking for. There is a certain personality. There is a certain character that we need to bring. And when I find it, I want to make sure that they don't leave. I want to make sure that they stay because they are the face, they're the bread and butter of the company. And whether it's foam, bubbles, golf, snow, carnival, I don't care, pick a concept. We're all engaging and we're all presenting. And I got to have those top people doing that. And um, getting to uh, getting to a full-blown entertainment empire has always been the goal after the first few months of launching because I saw the need, I saw the demand, and frankly, I like money. Let's get down to brass tacks here. I, I turned 41 next month. I have told myself, and I set a goal on my 40th birthday in front of every single buddy I knew and every single person who is personally involved in my physical life, meaning all the people who are around me, that we were on my 40th birthday. And I took a moment in front of everybody and made a statement that I said, guys, I have 10 years. I am not in 10 years, by the time I am 50, this is going to be an empire that I am no longer running the day to day. That's it. This is going to be my family's ticket to hopefully generational wealth. This is going to be, if my kids are interested, something passed down to them to take over. If not, no hard feelings. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. But this is what I've chosen to do currently, and I think the potential is here to do something just really good for everything, everybody, every person, all my team. Um, to learn, to grow as a person, as a business person, as an individual, and I got I got 9 years left.
Man, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this
Yeah, of
information.
course.
And man, if I could summarize kind of what I just learned from you, obviously I learned a bajillion and one things from
Yeah.
you. But if I could summarize just one thing, I would say is, you know, there is no ceiling. The sky is the limit. Think bigger with what you do, whether it's how you mentioned people thinking you can't charge more than 350 for a phone party, whether people think you can't hit that $1 million mark, whether people think you can't charge 10,000, like just think bigger, go out there and get it. You are a great example of this, and Foam Daddy is obviously happy to have you as one of their customers,
Sure.
using their products to make such an impact that you are out there in the world in your entertainment business. And not only your entertainment business, but all the people that you're helping, because we see you helping a bunch of other people in the industry as well. So thank you so much for everything you do, Matt. It
Yep.
was an honor talking
Absolutely.
with you, and I hope we could have you on again to talk some more
Yes.
because you are a wealth of knowledge.
Anytime, my friend. I appreciate it. And honestly, as I've told everyone, Paul, Lawrence, Chris, Stephanie, your whole team over there, we absolutely love you on our side. We love being a part of the community. We love being a larger part of the community, and I truly like giving back. I know I'm quirky, I know I'm a lot, but inside here, I do truly enjoy helping others, succeed because I am an entrepreneur. I am a serial entrepreneur. I love starting things. I love tinkering and figuring things out and learning and building processes. It's what I do. And this has been something really fun for me to get into. I've truly enjoyed it. Your guys' support, the community support has been absolutely fantastic. The Facebook group has been, I mean, that is literally, if you could, you should charge admission to be in that group. I mean, I get it defeats the purpose of helping everybody, but there is so much knowledge that gets dropped in that group on a daily basis, that all you have to do is just read. Just be a sponge. Just read it, absorb it, and find a way to incorporate it into your own world. Maybe not 100%, but find some way to incorporate some thought and make it your own. But man, you want to talk about gems and nuggets? The Facebook group is full of them every single day. And just get out there and ask. And I encourage anyone, please, reach out to me if they have questions or if they need some help or whatever the case may be. I'm here. I may be super busy in season, but I truly love helping people, and I'm super glad to be able to sit down here with you. And I appreciate you guys taking the time out to chat with me and learn a little bit about how we operate and what we do and our backstory. And if I can help create one more of me in the community for someone else somewhere, then it was a win. Because I think this industry, I know this industry is here to stay. Foam is not a fad. Foam is not something I see going out anytime soon. Um, and I think I'm not going to say it, but there's another avenue that we are working on with foam that I have not really seen anybody else do. That give me a couple years here. I gotta prove a concept, and mainly I need capital because I'm gonna need a good chunk of change for this. But I truly think if you follow along my story along the next few years, and if I can prove this concept, I think it's going to change the game for the foam industry personally. I think it's going to be a different avenue that most people, it's going to be a challenge and it's going to be something bigger. The barrier to entry for what I'm thinking of doing is going to be more significant than what people are doing right now. But that's how I see foam getting to $1 million by just foam. And just there's some things that'll be coming in the works down the road. We got a long process. I got to prove a concept first in my market, and then once I can prove a concept in my market, we're going to be rolling some stuff out and kind of just seeing where it goes. But I'm hooked. I'm bought in. I mean, this is it. This is what I do. I don't have a business. I don't have a job. I run my business. I do this full time, and there's nowhere. I mean, you said it. The sky's the limit. I don't put a cap on what we can make, on where we can go. And if someone doesn't think I can do $1 million with foam, tell me. I'll prove you wrong. So plain and simple.
That is the perfect ending, and I am smiling ear to ear with
Yeah.
your little secret that you have there. I am excited to see what you have, and I'm gonna be the first in line for whatever it is. Sign me
Yep.
up. I'm watching it.
No,
Uh,
I will say there may be a line. We'll just leave it
there
at
may
that.
be
There may be
a.
a line. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, once again,
Yeah.
thanks, Matt, for joining us. Thanks for sharing
No, thank you
everything,
guys.
and thanks for chatting with us. We hope you have a great day, and for
Absolutely.
everyone watching this, we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep.
Thanks so
Thank you guys. We'll
much.
see you later. Bye.